Biggie questions the housemates after their wager, then delivers a surprise. After the housemates finished their wager performance, Big Brother had one simple question for them. "Is that all?" The housemates confidently replied yes, but Biggie wasn't finished. He asked them to review their presentation and explain the thinking behind what they had just performed. First up was the head of house, Neche. She explained that their performance, titled The Pathless Walk, was a dance story about people who choose to fight for the life they want, instead of giving in to pressure and distractions. According to Neche, the story represented pushing through struggles, refusing to give up, and eventually seeing your struggles pay off. She believed the housemates had told the story as effectively as they could. Next was Aikou. He explained that the group tried to follow Big Brother's briefing as closely as possible, despite the limitations placed on them. He said they managed to create a connection between movement, music, and storytelling, while keeping the concept simple without completely losing its imagination. He also felt the ending went beyond what they initially imagined and believed the housemates had successfully created a cohesive story. Biggie then gave his assessment. He praised the grass to grace concept, describing it as one of the most relatable stories in the world, and praised the message of perseverance, ambition, and pursuing one's dreams. He said the idea of taking the path less walked was clearly reflected in their opening act. Biggie also connected the performance to the housemates' own experience throughout the week. According to Biggie, they had butted heads, appeared disorganized, and even stressed Neche to the point where she lost her voice while preparing for the wager. Yet, despite all the chaos, they had managed to bring their vision to life. But Biggie had one major question.
Why was it so short?
Tram stepped up to explain. He said the housemates were restricted by the music choices. They had only been given 3 songs. Since their choreography depended heavily on the music, they had to reduce the performance significantly. According to Tram, they actually had much more planned, but had to work within the limitations of the briefing. Biggie wasn't convinced. He responded bluntly. In other words, once again, you failed to think outside the box. Despite his criticism, Biggie had plenty of praise to give. He singled out Sultex for his role in directing the wager and praised his contribution both inside the house and during the performance. Biggie said Sultex showed that he was a star, especially because the dancer became the main act and delivered when it mattered. He also praised Sultex for helping some of his fellow housemates become better dancers. Biggie then turned his attention to Barry, Tram, and Yusuf, who were known as the Men in Black in the presentation. He described them as an interesting addition to the performance and played their roles perfectly, and praised them for their roles, saying they were perfect and helped bring the story together. He even credited them with changing Sultex's life through their contribution to the performance. Biggie also praised Aikou for his narration and ensuring that the presentation told a cohesive story. And finally, he acknowledged Neche's relentless effort throughout the week. Biggie acknowledged that the HOH had spent the entire week chasing the housemates around and trying to get everyone to work together. Then came the announcement everyone was waiting for. Housemates, you have won your wager. Congratulations to the housemates. Personally, I think the housemates were fortunate to win this wager. For me, a major reason they deserved the reward was Neche's hard work throughout the week, especially considering how difficult the housemates made the preparation process for her. I think this victory was largely a reward for the hard work of Neche, Sultex, and Aikou. Neche especially had an incredibly stressful week trying to get everyone to work together. The housemates were often uncooperative, opinionated, and difficult to organize, and Neche had to constantly push them to participate. I also believe Sultex and Aikou played major roles in making the presentation work, and Biggie's praise for all 3 of them was well deserved. One of the biggest disappointments for me, however, was Sheba. Sheba and Goddessa were not particularly helpful during the preparation, and it was frustrating to see them laughing and making faces while Neche was desperately trying to get everyone involved. There were moments when Neche was visibly frustrated and practically screaming for the housemates to cooperate, while the 2 would sit together, make faces, and laugh. For me, Sheba's reaction was especially disappointing. She has already been a head of house, so she knows exactly how difficult it can be to lead a house full of strong personalities and opinionated housemates. She had experienced firsthand how stressful it could be to get everyone working together during her own reign. Sheba even had moments when she broke down and cried in the garden during her time as HOH. So I expected her to understand what Neche was going through and offer more support. Yes, Sheba contributed to the storyline of the presentation, but I felt her contribution toward actually helping Neche turn that idea into reality was lacking. The constant giggling and lack of urgency alongside Goddessa were disappointing to watch. That said, I'm glad Biggie recognized the work that Neche, Sultex and Aikou put into the wager and reward them with a wager victory. After the wager announcement, the housemates headed straight into their pool party with the excitement of winning still in the air. And the party was lit. There was plenty of dancing, high energy and fun, with most of the housemates bringing their A game. Of course, the usual suspects were noticeably less involved, but everyone else appeared ready to celebrate. And you can see all the highlights from that wager presentation and wild pool party at the end of this video. Congratulations to the housemates on winning their wager.
Housemates. You were told to tell a cohesive story. Aikou ensured that happened with his narration. Aikou, well done. And the house Neche.
Yes, we did.
You spent the whole week chasing people around. It may seem as though your efforts paid off. Housemates, you have won your wager. You may now leave the arena.
Housemates.